Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey. What's going on? This is Crystal Taylor, the owner of Fitness is Not a Game, and you're here on Fitness Friday where we're going to talk about what you're probably overlooking for stress relief. If you're here with me now, say hey. If you're catching this on a replay, type replay in the chat. If you've felt stressed this week, just type a chat in the chat because we're going to talk about it. Drink up. So, didn't really want to talk about it, but let's talk about it because it is what it is. We're here, right? So we just had an election Tuesday. Despite what the numbers say, I don't feel like most people want this. Well, at least I know the people that I know are not happy about the results. And I'm just keeping it real, right? And it's caused a lot of stress because of the uncertainty of what could happen on so many different levels, right? Whether you're concerned about him and his policies, if you're concerned about what acts his followers may take because maybe now they feel emboldened, there are certain levels of stress. So that's why, because of that, Wednesday night, I decided to have a stretch session on Zoom. I just put it out there and I said, hey, if you feel stressed and you need to relax, jump on this quick 15-minute stretch. And it was so good to be able to just sit and allow the tension to melt away as much as we could, right? Not saying that it was all going to be fixed with a stretch, but I think a lot of people overlook the benefits of stretching when they feel stressed. Let me know in the chat what you typically do when you get stressed. And drink up your water if you got some. Because most people talk about stress eating, folks are stress drink, stress eat. They do all these other things that are not as beneficial in the long run, or not beneficial at all. Let me go ahead and say that. I'm up here trying to be all nice and politically correct. They're not beneficial, not at all. And they do help on certain levels in the moment. But then what typically happens is that whatever the result may be, whether it's extra weight that you've gained or a hangover or whatever, or just bad decisions you made while you were under the influence, you tend to regret it in the long run. But if we just take a moment to just stretch, and let me know, how often do you stretch? Do you stretch at all? Because let me talk about this too. I know we're talking about stress relief, but I would be remiss if I didn't say, y'all getting old. You better stretch them doggone limbs. Yeah, I said it. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again for whoever didn't hear me in the back. You are getting too old not to stretch your limbs. Your limbs. You heard what I said. As we're getting older, y'all, things are not working like they used to. We have to keep those things moving, and stretching is one way, right? But let's talk specifically about how it works with stress relief. When we are stressed, let me know if this is just me, but most of us hold it. Well, I know I do. Hold it real tight in the neck, back, and shoulders, right? I'm gonna tell y'all. I knew I was frustrated by the results, and like, unfortunately, I was disappointed but not shocked, if that makes sense. And let me know if that's how you felt too. But I woke up yesterday, after the whole full day of learning the results. And when I tell you, my neck was just, it was not happy with me. I was so happy and lucky and fortunate that I had already had a chiropractor appointment scheduled. And when I got there, I told him, I said, "Oh, my neck is hurting." And he said, "What you got going on?" He's playing around with it. And I told him I'm carrying stress in my neck, not just from the election, from some other stuff that happened Wednesday. Not even going to go into that. but I knew I was carrying it in my neck. And when I tell you the way that man adjusted me, baby, I hadn't felt an adjustment like that in all the time I've gone to a chiropractor. I mean, my whole body jerked, felt it. I literally felt electricity at the tips of my fingers, felt amazing. But, excuse me, I say all that to say is that I was carrying it all in my neck like most people do. So when we get to stretching, and that was one of the stretches that we started with when I did my free stretch session Wednesday night, in addition to the breathing, because you got to focus on your breathing, we did a lot of work on that neck, because when we're stretching, especially that neck, it's encouraging that blood flow. And what happens with that is that now it's reducing the tightness that we have in our muscles, and it increases the oxygen flow to our brain, right? So that's why sometimes if you get a really good stretch, you're like, oh, I feel high. So for y'all who run into drugs, ain't no judgment. If you're chasing the high, you can get a high that way too. And it could also help with that, like that mental clarity, like when you're frustrated and the stress is coming from frustration because you can't figure out why. Sometimes just stretching and getting that blood flow going, answers start coming together, like right? But remember, I said you also have to make sure that you're breathing. What you cannot do, hold your breath and be all tensed up trying to stretch it out. You have to breathe. Because when you're taking those deep breaths, they tell you take deep breaths for a reason, because it literally activates your body's relaxation response, right? It's like, oh, okay, we about to reduce these stress hormones. Okay, all right. So now I feel good. I feel centered, right? But I want to make sure you know something. And I learned this from my yoga instructor. I have a yoga instructor who does classes for my clients, Danielle. Shout out to Danielle with Hella Well with Danielle. But she clarified that when you're inhaling, if you're actually taking that air in to your nose, your stomach should be expanding because it's taking in extra air. And when you exhale, now you're pressing that air out, and that's when your stomach gets flat. So many of us, when we suck in that air, we suck it in our stomachs. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take it in through your nose so that the stomach expands, and then blow it out through your mouth. And that's important to make sure that you're getting the most from these breathing techniques and from these stretches that you could be. If you're not even breathing properly, and most of us like, Chris, I know how to breathe. I breathe every day. I've been breathing all my life. If I wasn't breathing, I'd be dead. But are you doing it properly? Is the question. Make sure you're doing it right. Okay. So, in addition to that, with the stress relief benefits of stretching, and let me back up. I asked y'all a question, and I didn't even give my answer. And I believe in being fully transparent, open, and honest. I have become more intentional about adding more stretching into my day. However, I'll be honest to say I don't stretch as much as I should. We should honestly be stretching every day. We use our body every day. Why not thank our bodies for getting us through the day by giving us some love and relaxation? And on top of it, life be lifing. Now, can we have some great days? Sure. Like some days are just amazing. But even then, we should still be giving our bodies some love and stretching. But on those days, especially when it may have not been the best day, may not have been the best day, you should incorporate some stretching, especially at night, to release those the tension from those muscles so that you can sleep better. Think about how many times you've gone to bed frustrated and stressed out, and you didn't sleep well because you carried all that frustration inside your neck and your back and all that good stuff. But when you allow yourself to breathe and stretch it out, you release that, right? Which means it's going to help you sleep better. It's helping your body to completely just unwind. Well, not completely, but hopefully completely unwind, shed that stress, and it'll make it easier for you to fall asleep. And more than likely, it's going to help you sleep longer and stay asleep. How many of you struggle with staying asleep? Wake up many times throughout the night, and then when you wake up, you have a hard time going back to sleep, right? But doing all of this, relieving that stress, or at least reducing the stress, because you're stretching, you're intentional about your breathing. All of these things are going to help you reduce your cortisol level and increase your endorphins. Cortisol is that stress hormone. We don't want that. That's what I was feeling all day Wednesday, yesterday morning, doggone cortisol. But when you get that stretching and the breathing in, those endorphins kick in. Those are the feel-good hormones. That's what we're looking for. That's what's going to naturally boost your mood. It was so crazy how yesterday, after leaving the chiropractor, I was like, because it ain't no stretching. Dr. B don't get me for even almost comparing. That's our resident chiropractor. But that's what it felt like. Like my neck was so tight. I needed to, well, you know what? Let me back up. The adjustment was amazing. Will not take that away from Dr. Jeremy at all. It was amazing. But what also happens after my adjustment, I have to do therapies. And one of them is just stretching out my neck for 10 minutes with a weight hanging off my head. That's a whole nother discussion, right? But every time I'm done with that, that is the ultimate stretch. It's crazy how there's this high. You see my eyes doing it's like this amazing calm. It's an amazing high that comes from it. And it helps to reduce that stress. So even though I woke up yesterday, and it's crazy because I woke up, did my regular workout. It was a great workout. Actually, it was a new workout, but it was a great workout. And it helped with the stress a little bit, but because my neck was still hurting so bad, it was hard to not feel stressed from the pain. That's the other thing. When you're in pain, you're going to feel tightness and stress. It's hard to feel calm and relaxed when you're in pain because that's what you're thinking about, right? It's the pain. And it's frustrating because it could limit what you're doing or what you want to do. But when you're stretching it out, especially once you do it routinely, because a lot of people don't want to stretch because they say, oh, girl, I ain't flexible at all. Let me know if you feel like you're flexible. I can barely even go 3 inches. That's fine. Don't expect to just start out and now you look like a doggone contortionist. Remove those expectations from what you should be able to do. So for anybody who was like, I want to stretch, but I don't know where to start, just start with a few minutes. Yeah, it's great when people say, oh, I did a 30-minute stretch session, but you may not have that. So maybe just tell yourself, you know what, I'm just going to do 5 minutes a day. That's it. You got 5 minutes. Shoot, nowadays, commercial breaks are 5 minutes on these doggone shows. So you can just tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to start stretching during commercial breaks. And if that commercial break is only a minute and a half, 2 minutes, then just a little minute and a half, 2-minute stretch. But just building just deciding to stretch during each commercial break, using that commercial as a trigger for you to do it, it helps you to build the habit of stretching every day, right? So just saying, that's what I'm going to do it. That way I don't have to feel like I'm doing anything extra, because a lot of people don't do it because they feel like they already don't have time for the things they're already doing in their lives. Let me know if that's you. And now you want me to add stretching too? Pair it with something else you're already doing. Start out small, because you already don't want to watch the commercials anyway. So you may as well go ahead and stretch. All right. And I'll tell you that when you're stretching, what else you can do, make sure that you are focusing on those high tension areas. Something else you can do, like even while you're with me right now, I encourage you to stretch. Get that arm and take it across your chest. Hold that. Because remember, I told you the shoulders hold a lot. Even if you tell yourself that's what you're going to do on your next call, Zoom or whatever, Teams, Google Meet, whatever, tell yourself you're going to stretch. Stretching those necks, that neck. If you got a couple necks, well, they say, I know people talk about having multiple chins, but probably got one neck, right? But doing your neck rolls, whether it's chin to chest, ear to shoulder, even simply grabbing the arm of your chair and twisting your spine. Make sure that you're incorporating all of those high tension areas because we carry a lot in our lower back. Most people I know, especially our age, have lower back issues. So stretching it out is something else you can do. You can just seat, and you can do all these things seated. The stretch we did the other night was all seated. So don't feel like you have to get up and look crazy in front of everybody. You can do all of this while you're sitting at your desk. Just from here alone, seated, you can reach towards your toes. It's gonna help with your lower back, and depending if you straighten your legs or not, it can help with your hamstrings. But you want to make sure that you are breathing intentionally as you do it, right? When you inhale and then you exhale, you'll notice that giving those muscles that extra oxygen, you'll fall further into that stretch. But be patient with yourself. Don't expect it to happen overnight where the first day you decide to stretch, you're doing the Chinese splits and chest to the floor. If you haven't stretched in a while, you might be lucky to get you a good 3 inches. And that's okay. Take a deep inhale, a really good exhale, and see if you get to 3.5 inches, right? But just take your time with it. But I said all this to say, because I'm wrapping up now. I wanted to come on and talk to you all about stretching. One, because even I need the reminder sometimes to stretch. 2, this was a stressful week. 3, the stretches that we did, and it was so nice and dope to get feedback from the ladies who attended the stretch Wednesday night. Like, thank you. I needed that. Like, I knew I was tense, but I didn't know how badly I needed it. It was just a good reminder that so many of us overlook what we know we should be doing. We know we should be stretching, right? And so many of us feel like we don't have time for it, but this is another one. Another one where it's not about giving time, it's investing in your health. And I'm not making excuses for lazy people. I don't consider them to be lazy. Sometimes it's just a reminder of what priorities could be, right? We are busy. And sometimes it's just a reminder, like, we get out there and stretch. People overlook the benefits of it. They really do. They're like, oh, I just need to work out. I need to run. I need cardio. I need to watch what I eat. They forget that flexibility and balance are also part of being fit and healthy. Part of exercise is not just cardio, it's not just strength training, it's not just the endurance. You have to have flexibility and balance as well. Those things are going to help you, especially as we get older. They're going to help you from, it's going to reduce, hopefully, how frequently you may or may not fall, right? If you can actually catch yourself. So it's not about being lazy. Sometimes people just don't understand that there are way more benefits to stretching than just injury prevention. Or we talk today, it's about stress relief. It's about sleeping better. It's about having clarity. All of those things are beneficial, and we all need those right now. So I hope you all have found this to be helpful. If you're one of those and you're like, hey, I'm not sure what stretches I should do, what you can do is if you go to fitnessisnotagame.com/stretch, and the link is in the description, I'll send you 12 stretches that you should do every day that you can easily do at your desk or in your chair while you're watching TV to help with the stress relief. So, okay, say we are lazy people. I have the data. All right. I see you in the mood to argue. We going for it? Nobody said that people like Americans, yeah, sure, we can be lazy, but that's not what we're talking about right now. Stay focused. The focus is on relaxing yourself during stress times. Because even if you're not doing cardio, even if you're not lifting weights or doing any form of strength training, which again, I've said over and over again that exercising is the best stress reliever that there is. I have the data for that. But we're not talking about that right now. What I'm doing is providing other means to relieve stress. And it's not about any classification or any judgment to say, hey, you lazy, get off your butt and stretch. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, hey, if you're stressed, try this. How about you take a few moments and just stretch? See how you feel. See if it helps you relax. See if it helps you sleep better. See if it helps you focus more. I'm not here to judge anybody today. That's not what we're talking about. I never judge anyway. I'm not talking about anybody that's lazy. I'm talking about anybody who's stressed. That's different. We have the data on that too. We have the data on how many people ended up in therapy after he won the first time. I'm trying to help avoid that and reduce that. Because what I absolutely know is that if this is unsettled, nothing else is going to work. So it's not about being lazy or not. It's about making sure you feel whole here. And if you can do it in your living room by just stretching for a few minutes, then please do that. And then maybe once you boost your mood, then maybe you'll decide you want to get up and do some exercises. But this is not about a lazy culture generation. This is about the stress that we are feeling, the stress that is taking people out. So stay focused. So it's not about judgment or characterization, finger pointing. There's data about all the things. But right now, I'm trying to help people relieve their stress. And you can do that by stretching. Not about to get me out my character today. Y'all have a good one. I'm going to end on a good note with a smile. Drink your water. Coach Krista love y'all. Yes, I do. I wouldn't be on here every Friday if I didn't. Oh, gosh. Have a good day, grown man, with your data. Y'all have a good one.